So it's crazy to think that lockdown and the whole virus situation happened just over 4 years ago now. And I kind of just want to do a video on like why I feel like a lot of people feel that the world hasn't been the same since that kind of happened. And I definitely feel that way as well. And I think there's a few things, obviously, that I want to go over why I think that that is the case. So the first one would 100% be the price increase of everything. Never really got quite a good understanding of why everything seemed to just skyrocket after the whole pandemic. Obviously, suppliers had to like all stay in their home, and like, no one was really making anything. So then, the minute the pandemic was over, there was a massive demand for everything, and that obviously sent the price up. But I mean, it's like even just restaurants charging so much extra on meals and things like that. It seems to have gotten a little bit silly now. So I think that's definitely made people get a bit fed up and being squeezed for every penny that they have. And due to all the price increases on products and stuff, a lot of businesses went out of work. So, in this town that I'm in, there's a lot of places that aren't even open now because of the pandemic. And some of the places that are open, I'm just thinking like, I don't know how they're making money. Maybe money laundering or something, but yeah, it's just not really that easy to run a business like it was before since then. And, I think people got really accustomed to staying indoors. When it first happened, I'm not going to lie, the first 2 weeks I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Maybe even like 3 weeks, I was like, I'm going to get paid to just sit at home, play video games and do whatever I want. Obviously you couldn't go and like see your friends and stuff. That become quite serious very early on. But after it sort of got to the point where you just become used to just staying in and not going out on the weekend doing things. And I think that's still left quite a effect on people where they're just kind of like, well, they've made their home more entertaining due to the fact that everything costs so much more money. I think it's just forced people to be open-minded about staying in more. And due to that, there's a lot less sort of activities and events going on in the local areas. And like I said, with other businesses closing down due to the price increase on products and stuff, it's just kind of left this gap of like nightclubs and stuff. There's people saying that nightclubs aren't even going to be a thing in like 10 years time. Like I still think they will be, but I mean, there's definitely been a few nightclubs down in my local town that have shut down, or definitely aren't doing as well as they were. They're turning into sort of just like bars and restaurants now. So yeah, that's definitely a big thing. That's definitely a big one. I think people are kind of like embarrassed and like ashamed on how the country behaved as a whole, like the fact that the government were telling us to stay in whilst they were partying, and, the fact that it was just such an extreme way of like controlling everyone, when in reality it wasn't even that bad. I mean, like, where is the virus now? I mean, there's still cases, but, it's not as serious as what they made it out to be. Telling us that we couldn't go outside and, we could only have like an hour of daily exercise. Like, I remember seeing videos of the police going around the parks and like shouting at people for sunbathing and stuff, when like getting sun into your body, the best things you could have done, and I think like the fact that people turned on people so quickly and turned on their fellow man is quite disappointing. And I'll tell you a story about, I was on a plane going to Lanzarote with a girlfriend. And this was when the whole pandemic was coming to an end, and you had to do things like, if you was in a restaurant, you had to wear a mask, and then when you were sitting down to eat, you could take your mask off. When you think about it, it makes no sense, because if you actually had a deadly virus that could kill anyone, like just breathing in the same atmosphere, you would be like, no, you wouldn't do it. So that just made no sense whatsoever. It was just silly. Anyway, so it was on the plane, and you had to wear your mask on the plane, but like I said, if you bought food, you could take it off. At this point, I was just like fed up with this whole situation, so I wasn't wearing my mask like as much as I should have been. So I was on the plane with my girlfriend, and we were talking, and I was sort of turning to talk to her, and there's a gap in between the chairs, and I could see in the corner of my eye, because everyone had their masks on because we were about to take off. And I could see this guy was just getting really riled up. And I was like, I couldn't understand why he was getting so riled up. And my girlfriend couldn't see him, so she's chatting away to me, and I'm trying to like focus on what she's saying, whilst I can see him in the corner of my eye, going like, just getting really uptight. And I heard him say to his missus, like, "Oh, he hasn't got his mask on," because it came onto the buzzer like 10 seconds or so before that, saying like, "Oh, we're about to take off. Can you take your mask off? Put your mask on." But obviously, when I go to eat, I can take it off. So it's like, I just thought it was just silly. And he was like, I thought he was going to get up and punch me. And I could feel myself getting really tense. Like, what do I do? Because I don't want to fight on the plane. We're just about to take off, you know, and I've seen videos where people fight on the plane and they get fined and they turn the plane back, like, even if they're in the air for a while. Like, so I was trying to, like, thinking, you know, if this really kicks off, how am I going to defuse this? And he actually, funny enough, he politely asked me, like, "Oh, excuse me, mate, can you put your mask on?" And I was very much like, wanting to say, get a grip, like, don't tell me what to do kind of thing. But I did it. I did put the mask on because, like I said, I don't want to cause a fight or anything on the plane. But I just thought, like, how mental is that after 10 minutes later, when we was in the air and everything was fine, we was allowed to buy food. And I bought food, and the whole plane, I was drinking and eating, and I didn't have my mask on, and he never said anything. So it was like, it was just the fact that I wasn't abiding by the stupid rules that were in place at that time, and he couldn't stand it. And there was multiple cases of people behaving like that, you know, turning on their neighbours and stuff just for having them like nan round or like their mum or something. And it's just, I think that's quite like telling on how people are so controlled. You know, like this guy was almost like he was going to fight me over something so silly like that made no sense anyway. Definitely made people have a different perception on the, you know, the average bystander, as to say. So, yeah, I think it's definitely been a shift in the world, and not necessarily a good one. I mean, it's not like life was a perfect or, you know, absolutely amazing every single day before the pandemic, but it definitely wasn't. It definitely didn't feel like it does now. So if you are feeling like the world's different since then, you know, you're not alone, because I think a lot of people do feel like that. I often see a lot of memes on TikTok where it'll be like life in 2018, and it's someone like really happy and smiling, and then it'll be like life now, and then it's like someone really depressed and just not happy with how their situation's going. So yeah, you're not alone in thinking like it. I kind of just wanted to hop on and just have a little rant on why I think that it's kind of different. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.